In today's video, I'm gonna show you how to create this login and register form with this cool animation and this little hover effects and also the glass looking background as well. So let's get into it. So I have this folder with the background image. You can find the link in the description. An HTML file with the boilerplate, just link the style sheet and the JavaScript as well, an empty JavaScript file and the style.css. Just reset some margin and padding and set the font family to whatever you want. And for the icons, we're gonna use box icons. So go up to this website, click on usage, scroll down just a little bit and copy and paste it right under here. And let's open this with live server. So first we're gonna create a container. So let's create a div with the class of container and with the ID of container as well. So we are going to create two forms and we're gonna need a form container as well. So this first one is going to be register. Let's create the form. Gonna give it a h1 with register, a div for the icons. Gonna create 4 anchor tags. So let's find the icons. Let's look up for Facebook. So click on font. You're going to copy this one, copy and paste it. Instagram, copy and paste it. LinkedIn, copy and paste it. And GitHub, copy and paste it. So it looks like this now. So right under this div, we are going to create 4 inputs. So the first one is going to be the username. The second one is going to be email. Third one is going to be password. And the fourth is going to be password as well, but the placeholder is going to be confirm password. And I'm gonna create a button with register text inside. So this is the first form, the register form. And now we are going to create the second one, the login. So we can basically copy this and paste it inside this container right under here. I'm gonna change this to login. Gonna change the h1 as well. We can keep the icon same. And we're gonna delete the confirm password. Change this to login as well. And let's delete the email as well. And let's add a anchor tag. Forgot your password. I think we are done with the forms. Looks like this now. And now you are going to create a toggle section. So right under this div, but still inside the container, I'm going to create this div with the class of toggle container. And inside we're going to create another one with the toggle. So this part is going to be the one on the right. You see at the beginning of the video, when you click on the register, it switches to the other form. And when you click on it again, it switches back. So the first one is going to be the panel left. And it's gonna say, welcome back. Login to the website. So we're gonna create a button for the login. Gonna give it a class of hidden. And ID is going to be login. So this first one, going to create another one. Let's quickly copy and paste this. So this is going to be on the right. So this first one, when you have the register form on your screen, you're going to see this on the left. And when you click on this login form, it is going to switch back to the login form. And this one is going to be for the register. And it is going to say register to use the website, and let's change this to register. ID is going to be register as well. And this one is the opposite. If you have the login form on the screen, if you click on this on the right hand side, it is going to switch to the register form. So when you click on this, it is going to bring this onto the screen. And if you click on this, it is going to bring this form. So we are done with the HTML and we are going to style it now. So first, let's set the background image. I'm gonna say background, no repeat, and center. And we're gonna make it cover the whole page by saying background size cover. And we also need to make it minimum height 100 VH so it fits this whole viewport. And we're going to make this a flex box, so we can use align item center and justify content center to center everything in the middle. And the container, we are going to give it this glass look. So I'm going to copy and paste some colors to save some time. So if you want to use the same colors and the same effects, just pause the video and copy and paste it. So the backdrop filter, blur 20 pixels, and a little border radius as well, a little box shadow 0015, and this transparent black. So this first one is for the horizontal, so if you increase this to 25, like, you're gonna have a shadow on the side. And this is for the vertical line, so if you increase this one, you're gonna have a shadow at the bottom. So the third one is the spread. If you increase this to like 50, the shadow is going to spread even further, but we're gonna keep it at 25. And this color, as I said, it's black, but you need to lower down the transparency. If you make it like pitch black, it's not gonna look really good. So don't forget to lower the transparency around 0.3, and a small border as well. So we're gonna set the width to 768, and minimum height is going to be 480. It looks fine, with a little margin at the top and the bottom, 20. So those little text. And the anchor tags are gonna have no text decoration, and the H1 is going to be white, and the button, gonna make the background white, text color black, gonna increase the font to 12, gonna give it a little padding, so 10 pixel at the top and the bottom, and 45 pixels on the sides. And border is going to be 1 pixel solid. We're gonna make it transparent because we're gonna add a hover effect. So little border radius, increase the font weight to 600, and a small space at the top. And the cursor is going to be pointer, so if you hover over it, the cursor is going to turn into this. And a little transition tool for the smooth hover effect. So when you hover over it, going to make the text white and the background black. So let's see if it works. Yeah, it works fine. So the form is gonna have a transparent background, and we're gonna make this a flex box. Gonna center everything in the middle. So we made this a flex box and it put everything side by side, and we can change this by changing the flex direction to column, and now they are going to be aligned on the vertical line, and we are going to give it a little padding on the sides. I'm gonna set the height to 100%. So let's style those inputs as well. Gonna make the background color white, gonna delete the borders, a small margin between, a little padding on the top and the sides. Gonna increase the font size to 13. A little border radius. Gonna set the width to 100% and delete the outline as well. So the form container, gonna make it position absolute, and everything is gonna get messed up, but we are going to fix it. So top 0, gonna make the height 100%, and we need a small transition as well because it is going to be moving around when we finish, and we like to make it smoother. So now everything is a mess, and let's fix it. So let's first move the toggle container out of the way. Gonna make it position absolute as well, top 0, and we are going to move it 50% from left, and we're gonna set the width to 50% as well. Gonna make the height 100%, so overflow hidden, and border radius 230, 0, 0, 230. So this border radius is basically gonna give it this circle looking on the side, and we're also gonna give it a really high Z index and a little transition too, because it is going to have this animation when we finish. So let's also deal with the forms. So this is going to be left 0 with 50%. So this toggle container have 50% of this container, and the forms are gonna have the rest of the 50 in here, and the Z index of 2 and the register is going to be pretty much the same, but we are going to make the opacity 0 for now, and the Z index is going to be 1. So yeah, it looks much better now. So let's style those icons. So form container, form A, let's make it color white, font size 16. Social icons, we're going to give it a little space at the top and the bottom. We are going to give it a border 2 pixel solid white. Going to make them circle by saying border radius 50%, display inline flex, and we are going to center those icons in the middle. Margin 0, 3 on the sides. Width and height is going to be 45. And the transition for the hover effect is going to be 0.3 ease. And let's make the icons a lot bigger, like this. And the hover effect, when you hover over it, we're going to make the background black. The icons are going to be white, and the border is going to be black as well. So let's see if it works. Yeah, looks fine. So let's style the container on the right, so this one. So let's make the H2 a lot bigger. So the toggle div is going to be height 100%, and let's make the background white. Going to make the text color black, position relative. So some of these styling is going to look really meaningless at the moment, but after we add the animation, I'm going to explain why are we doing all of this. And the transition again for the animation. So what else? Oh, so this toggle panel, we're going to make this position absolute with 50, height 100%, and we're going to make it a flex box. Align everything on the center, change the flex direction to column, a little padding on the sides, text align center, top 0, and transform is going to be 0. So we are making this 0 on the x-axis because we are going to make it move later, so we need to set it to 0 so that we can change it later. And the same transition, 0.6. So the one on the right is going to be right 0, and the same translate x. And right now we can see the text, so it looks like this now. And actually we have a small problem with this button. So the button that inside this toggle div doesn't look really good, so let's change this. Button.hidden. Let's make the background color white and give it a black border. Make the font size 16 and a little transition. So when you hover over it, same as the others, you're gonna make the background black and text color white. Let's see if it works. There you go. So we are done with the styling. Now we are going to create the animation. So when you click on this, the other register form is gonna come up on the side, and this part is going to move to this side. And for that, we are going to create a active class for the container, and we're going to use this active class with JavaScript later. So now all the CSS we made before is going to make sense. So this right div, you see it in here, we set the transform to translate x0. And now when this container has the class of active, we are going to make it transform 200% on the x-axis. So it is going to move from this to this side, and it is going to be same with the others as well. So toggle container is going to move on the same axis. So this toggle container you see is this white one here. So when we move this from this side to this side, we need to change the border radius, and we want the border radius on the right. So we are going to change this to 0, 230, 230 and 0. Same for the toggle. Let me actually finish this real quick. So when we write down the JavaScript, I will explain this. And the login is going to be display none. So this is basically when you switch to the register form, we are basically making the login form disappear with this. And the register is going to move as the others. And we're going to make the opacity 1. If you remember at the very beginning, we made this 0. So we're going to make it visible when the container gets active, and we're going to increase the Z index as well. And the left text is going to move 200% as well. And transform is going to be 0. So we are finally done with the CSS, and we're going to make this work now with the JavaScript. So before we get into the JavaScript, we have a little problem in here. So as you can see, this sides, this corners doesn't have border radius as this one's on the left. And that is because this div, this white one, is overflowing the one at the back. So if we set the container, which is this one, this glass at the back, we need to give it a overflow hidden, and it is going to be fixed. So the JavaScript is going to be pretty straightforward. Going to create 3 variables, one for container, one for the register button, and one for the login button. So if you remember, we give all of those tags their own IDs. So as you can see, this register button has the ID of register, and the login button has the ID of login, and the container has the ID of container. So using these IDs, we are going to put them inside these variables. So let's say document gets elements by ID container, get element by ID register, and get element by ID login. So we have the variables now, and we are going to create two functions. So one for register button and one for login button. So the first one, we're going to add a event listener to this button. You can think of this as a function, but it doesn't get executed right away. It waits for something to happen. And this something is going to be a click. So when you click on this button, which is this register button, this function here is going to get executed. And this function is going to be this one. And we are going to do the same with the other, but this one is going to be removed. So this active class, as you may remember, in the CSS, we created this active class for the container. So when this container has the class of active, the right panel, which is this one, is going to move 200% on the x-axis, and the others as well. The toggle container, which is this one, it moves along the x-axis 50%. So when you click on the register button, it makes this container active and this styling gets activated. So if you click on this register right now, this part is going to move to the left and the login is going to disappear, because when the container gets activated, we set the login to display none. And as you may remember, the register was opacity 0. And again, when you click on this and the container gets activated, the opacity changes to 1. So the register form is going to be visible on this side. So let's see if it works. There you go. And if you click again, this form is going to be invisible. And this part is going to move to this side, and the login form is going to be visible on the left. There you go. So let's see if everything is working properly. The hover effects work. Animation works. And that is it. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time.